Oh god, bright side once again with another one of those crazy paleontology videos. Don't worry, I still read comments, so to whoever I just reached out and accepted the request. There we go. You're welcome. Anyway, enjoy.
Well, hey there! We dive back in time and into the oceans over 500 million years ago, just, because we can. Whoa! Watch out! It's not megalodon or giant sea reptiles you need to look out for.
Why though? It's the Cambrian period, not something like the Permian.
It's a bizarre, unearthly-looking creature called Anomalocaris. The name means unlike any other shrimp, and I think you'll agree, it looks like a nightmarish cross between a shrimp and a modern-day centipede.
It looks weird, but not nearly nightmare fuel, at least to me.
2 tentacles protruding from its face, each lined with razor-sharp teeth. Oh yeah, and this thing was about the size of your leg. With a wave-like movement of the flaps on each side of its body, it was graceful for a terrifying creature. It was also more advanced than any other life on this planet at the time. Especially those huge eyes.
Okay, so, I actually kind of like this narrator. Unfortunately, Bright Side's videos tend to be not great. Well, this is probably at the mid-stage of Bright Side where things start to get more clickbait, but there's still a lot of facts. Then we get to now where Bright Side is nothing but clickbait hellhole, absolute crazy misinformation, and the facts have nothing to do with the title itself.
You have only one lens in each of yours. This giant shrimp had 16,000. That's 4 times more than a common housefly. And you know how good their vision is. Good enough to dodge that swatter every time.
I just used tissues to try and surround the fly instead.
All this allowed Annie to become one of the first animals on this planet to feed on others. Yep, here it is. Earth's first hunter. Its favorite meal? Trilobites. Hey, try a bite. Those are the ancient ancestors of crabs. Some of their fossils have marks on them in the same shape as the monster shrimp's mouthparts.
Okay, now, Anomalocaris. Does that terrify dinosaurs? No for most. Probably yes for Cumpy, but,
Terrors of the past like this got to be so giant, thanks to more oxygen in the atmosphere. A perfect example of this, Meganeuropsis.
Despite being a very, very big dragonfly, is still nothing compared to the likes of even a Megalosaurus.
Imagine a dragonfly. Now make it as big as a cat, and with a wingspan longer than your arm. Megan, the monster-sized dragonfly, could easily grab other insects or even small animals.
That's not Meganeuropsis.
And she ruled the air with quick movements. Back then, there were still no large birds or other airborne enemies for this behemoth bug, so it was safe and free to grow as large as this planet would allow. Piranhas of the past were also jumbo-sized. Mega piranha was about 3 times the size of the river terrors we have today.
Piranhas aren't as vicious as we think they are.
Its bite force was about the same as a tiger's, and those striped kitties bite down 2 times harder than lions. That means it probably not only dined on other fish and any land creatures that, got too close to the water.
What do you mean by too close to the water? You mean too close to its habitat.
But it could also easily crunch down on large turtles and other unlucky shelled creatures. And fun fact, modern-day piranhas bark like dogs when they're about to enter a confrontation. It actually sounds more like a frog's ribbit. But makes you wonder, what did this mega-sized ancient cousin sound like?
Now, does Mega Piranha terrify dinosaurs? Depends, once again. But if it's encounters something giant like a Spino would just see it as another easy prey.
A bear roaring? How about giant sea scorpions the size of your bed? Go back about 460 million years.
Are you talking about Echelopterus renaniae? If so, you got the time wrong. You went 50 million years back.
And you'd see them swimming under you. And watch out for that tail. Scientists still don't know if these creatures could use it to inject venom like your standard land scorpion, but something tells me I wouldn't want that thing anywhere near me. Then there's this guy, Therizinosaurus.
Okay, so it is a dinosaur. This is a video called 14 Ancient Monsters Terrified Even Dinosaurs. So this thing kind of terrifies most dinosaurs because of its claws. Terrify, that means self-preservation instincts come in. Okay, what you're shown here is something that looks like a fusion of a sauropod and an Erlicogamma from Jurassic World Alive.
Terry looks sort of like a goose with long arms. Oh, and did I mention this goose dino is about 2 stories tall?
Both models of Therizinosaurus look quite goofy. I would probably use the Dominion Therizinosaurus instead.
And longer than a bus? Yow! Its arms make the T-Rexes look even more bite-sized.
T-Rex would still crush the Therizinosaurus anyway. The neck.
Each 8 feet long, almost triple the length of T-Rexes. And on the end, razor-sharp claws the size of your whole arm. Now, don't worry about those lengthy claws too much, though. Terry probably used them to cut through giant termite nests.
Also using them to grip the plants and stuff. And also, these claws can also be used to slap some fools if they had to.
So, this huge reptilian goose was more interested in eating bugs and plants. Another mega monster for you, Megatherium.
This honestly looks more like a bear than a sloth.
The giant ground sloth could look a giraffe straight in the eye and weighed as much as a hippo.
At this point, I'm not going to say anything about it again.
It moved mainly on its hind legs and used its massive tail as support.
It is primarily a quadruped. However, its trackways show it was capable of bipedal locomotion. Biomechanical analysis also suggests it had adaptations to bipedalism.
It had huge paws with colossal knife-sized claws. The sloth could use them to defend itself from enemies and to bend tree branches in search of food. But the biggest danger to the giant ground sloth wasn't dinosaurs or saber-toothed tigers.
Saber-toothed tigers.
It was our own species. Yep, humans showed up just in time to meet this fellow and to, eat him up. Titanoboa was a terrifying 50-foot snake.
What, even 14.3 meters? A higher estimate isn't that long.
As long as the great Megalodon itself.
Megalodon is even longer, actually.
It was also more than 2 times heavier than the heavyweight champion among snakes today, the green anaconda. Crocodiles were a regular on this Serpents menu. Titanoboa could swim 3 times faster than the fastest Olympic swimmer our species has ever seen. It was quicker and more dangerous in the water than outside it. And don't forget the boa part of the snake.
Look, Titanoboa may be intimidating, but it's quite small and it could be thrown around by big dinosaurs.
This massive snake wasn't venomous. Instead, it liked to squeeze. Remember that giant shrimp from earlier? Well, Opabenia.
It is only 7 centimeters in length. It is a baby even compared to very small non-avian dinosaurs.
Looks like its teeny tiny finger-sized cousin. And instead of 2 toothy tentacles, this thing had a vacuum hose coming out of its face. On the end of that trunk, what looks like a single crab claw. Add 5 eyes and a mouth under its head, and you've got a recipe for something not of this planet.
But it did exist, and it isn't nearly as terrifying as other creatures put on the list.
Only it is. This creature used its trunk like an elephant does. Its claw grabbed food from the bottom of the ocean and brought it up to its mouth. This thing is so weird looking that apparently when the scientist who discovered it presented his findings to an audience, they all laughed as if he were joking. Now, a real-life monster, the Tully monster.
The species itself is called Tullymonstrum gregarium.
From a distance, it looks a bit like Nessie, that long neck and teeth-lined jaws. But get closer, and you'll see it's more like a long nose with a mouth attached at the end, like a mosquito.
Okay, so from what I've seen, it probably reached lengths up to 35 centimeters, which is still a baby in comparison to most dinosaurs.
Its eyes are further back, sticking out of tubes all snail-like. Tully was an ancient mollusk, about the size of your forearm. It probably dined on jellyfish and shrimp 300 million years ago.
It lived during 311 to 306 million years ago in the Moscovian to Casimovian ages in the Pennsylvanian of Carboniferous.
Thylacus smilus will put a smile on your face as long as you don't get too close. No, it's not a relative of the saber-toothed tiger.
Saber-toothed tiger once again. This is getting outrageous.
It was a marsupial, making it more related to a kangaroo than anything. And if you compare them to body size, its fangs were actually longer than a saber-toothed tiger.
If you know anything about paleontology, you know that calling Smilodon a saber-toothed tiger is a crime.
And they grew continuously. As for that beard on its chin, that's actually all chin. The lower jawbone grew down to a point under the mouth. Those fangs were rooted to the skull, going way back to its eyes. When the mouth was closed, that bony beard protected the long, sharp teeth from breakage. Staganapolis.
Did you even try pronouncing that thing correctly? Jesus.
Not to be confused with Minneapolis. Might look like a big crocodile.
Look at this. Does this look like a crocodile to you?
With a squished-in snout, but it was mostly harmless. Its small head and very few teeth meant the reptile didn't have much to work with when protecting itself.
It's around 3 meters long, so it could use that, and its build, it could still try and defend itself.
That's what all those armored scales were for. And no need for huge fangs or long rows of razor-sharp teeth when you're a plant eater. That beak-like tip on its nose allowed the stag to dig up plants. So, really, this reptile was more like a 10-foot scaly pig.
Look, it could still defend itself. Pigs can also defend themselves, too.
Than a croc. Basilosaurus was a type of ancient whale that lived on our planet about 45 million years ago.
It lived from approximately 41.3 to 33.9 million years ago.
Not quite as long as a blue whale, but this guy was still big enough to munch down on other whales and even sharks. Some people believe these monsters could still exist today.
That statement is 100% ridiculous. Why would they even think of that? Holy crud.
Eyewitnesses claim to have seen a giant sea dragon, and Basilosaurus fits the description. Plus, 90% of our oceans are unexplored.
It went extinct over 30 million years ago. Why do you still believe it exists today?
There's plenty of space to hide a sea monster. But scientists haven't found any fossils of this ancient whale younger than 3.7 million years.
So you're confusing it with Megalodon. Okay then.
So, this myth is busted. Stegosaurus is one of the most...
Stegosaurus is a dinosaur. In a video titled 14 Ancient Monsters Terrified Even Dinosaurs. Nothing makes sense at this point.
Most recognizable dinosaurs that ever lived. It can easily be distinguished by those huge spikes on its tail and the bony plates on its back. It was twice as long as a giraffe.
You mean its length is not even twice the number of giraffe's height? I really know about the giraffe's length.
And nearly 5 times heavier. But compared to its body size, it had the world's smallest brain.
Y'all just continue to joke about the Stegos peanut brain.
It was no larger than a dog's. Pelagornis had the largest wingspan of any bird ever discovered.
You mean longest wingspan? Please word it properly next time.
It was twice the size of the largest bird today.
Its wingspan is twice that of the bird today, you meant.
The wandering albatross. Such huge wings made it hard for the bird to take off. it could only do so by jumping off cliffs. And when it finally spread its wings, this giant could only go about 40 miles per hour. The fastest bird today can reach speeds 5 times that.
This is how the video ends, as you can see. Yeah, another one of those bright side clickbait paleontology videos that we already know it's not gonna be good. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you all next time.